My name is Leah Oppenheimer. I live in Sag Harbor, New York, and I have lived there since 1995. This is the Children's Museum of the East End. I am the Director of Outreach Services for the museum. I've worked here since 2010. My son actually is an ICU COVID nurse, so he saw it coming. My husband is an infectious disease doctor. I worked in the HIV epidemic, so I know what epidemics mean. And my clients, many of them don't have health insurance. We serve many immigrant families. Right now I have about 86 on my caseload. And there's more. They come, they go, the kids get older, they move on. But we've seen hundreds in the last decade. But I know that they don't have health care, they live in crowded conditions, and it was going to be difficult. I have very serious heart disease. I've had it my whole life. And it means that if I were to get COVID, it would be bye-bye for me. Because even getting a cold, it turns into pneumonia almost inevitably. So I just have to be super careful. It was March 13th. My boss hadn't decided what to do yet about the museum. And I said, well, whatever you decide, give me a phone call because I'll be at home. I picked up my bag and I walked out. And the museum shut down a few days later, as you know. But that didn't mean I was without clients. Denial is the first defense. And I went into denial for a while. Nobody wants to be that sick. And I would read the stories of the New York Times and I would go, oh my God, this is like terrible. If I got this, I am in such doo-doo. So it was very clear that I couldn't take too many risks after a while. But first my husband had to yell at me. Because of course I had my Joan of Arc dreams, which is that I would be out there in the masses, working for the underdog, et cetera, which is what I did in HIV. But I couldn't do that because HIV wasn't contagious like this is. The boss and I talked, and he said, well, what do you think the impact of this is going to be on your families? Most of them had already been fired by, say, March 20th. Everyone thought that Latinos were the vector of infection out here. There was some really bad stuff in terms of prejudice against immigrants at that time. I started calling a few of my very close clients, and I said, what's happening? Do you have money? Do you have food? And most of them had some money, but the food thing was going to be a problem. I then sent out a survey to all the families on their WhatsApp phone. I have WhatsApp chats with all of my registered families. And so I have a good way of reaching people. And it's encrypted, it's protected, and they know that I don't tell secrets out of school. So we got it back, and I had expected bad numbers, but I hadn't expected anything like this. On the survey, which was well done because my daughter's a computer engineer, and she's had some public health education and background, and so have I. So we did a very careful survey trying to tease out a truthful response. The survey showed us that 80% of the clients after 2 weeks had no income. They also had no money to buy food. They had very little money to pay their rent. Most of them thought they could be okay for 4 weeks, tops. By the end of April, I switched over to online programming. We had my baby program online. I was able to recruit a bunch of students. Oh, please don't turn. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. We were able to recruit a bunch of adult and teenage volunteers to read with the kids. So we had a reading program, we had a science program online, and I got a wonderful art historian to do art programming with the kids. We did that survey on the 20th. On March 26th, we opened our first food pantry day. And to this day, every 2 weeks, we have a big food pantry that serves our entire clientele as they struggle back to normalcy. They're all working now, of course, again, but many of them were terribly indebted because they had to borrow money or put stuff on their credit cards or put off paying their rent, and they really got to get under the, what would you call it, snowed in with debt. So now that our giving them food allows them to put money towards where the real crisis is in their budget. The first thing I learned is don't think you know anything. Ask your clients. Even if they don't speak your language and they barely read or write their own language, they'll still have a really good answer for you, the best answer that there is. And then the second thing is ask your clients to work next to you. Work with them, not for them. We just recently became a cooperative food pantry, and the clients help with everything that happens in the pantry. Ordering, bagging, setup, evaluation. Right now I'm teaching someone to help me with the electronic part even. And that means that they're empowered. They were so generous. People really opened their pocketbooks for quite a long time and underwrote the food deliveries, which were quite a big drain on the museum's budget. We didn't plan a budget for this, and it's several $1,000s a month, which may not sound like a lot, but it's a lot for us. This institution's budget is only about 1-point-something million a year. It's really small for an institution. Us. It's all about us. You know how people have started putting pronouns under their name? I decided, reading Bell Hooks, who writes in lowercase, that my new pronoun was we and us. Because when you forget about I, you are so much stronger.